Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining me on another one of my videos. My name is Shelley and I created this YouTube channel so that I could share basically things that happen in my life. So anything to do with home or DIY at home and travel and health and craft and basically anything. So it's a little bit of everything channel, but at the moment it's kind of been a mix of a stomach infection that I had and kind of doing a bit of a video playlist and a series about that to help people, and then also some of my travel videos as well. I just wanted to say that if you have watched any of my flight videos, I just want to say thank you so much, because those videos were initially made for my dad, and he basically was housebound and unable to travel. So I actually created those flight videos for him, and unfortunately whilst I was on my holiday I lost my dad. So I really appreciate everybody who has watched those videos and liked them and commented and things, and I just wanted to kind of do some interior kind of vlogs, like muted vlogs, just showing the interior of the A380 flights that I took. So yeah, unfortunately my dad didn't get to watch them, and so bear with me on this video. This particular video is going to be video number 5 in my H.pylori series, and also talking about gut health and my journey over the last 18 months since I had eradication treatment for H.pylori, and it has been a very interesting journey. The reason why I have created these videos is generally I am quite an introverted person, and me being on video is not something that makes me feel incredibly comfortable. However, I really struggled with the whole process of having that stomach infection. I hadn't have heard of it before, and I couldn't find very much online about it, and so I wanted to create the videos to help other people. I have had so many messages from people, whether it's via email or Instagram or TikTok or this platform, and basically just people kind of telling me their stories. I cannot believe how many of us have had a stomach infection like that, and I thought it was really important to kind of just say thank you to everybody who's reached out, because it's really important to know that when you have something as stressful as H. pylori, that that you know that you're not alone, and that there are so many people out there who have experienced that stomach infection, and so many people who have healed in different lengths of time and things like that. It's such a complex bacteria to experience. But it's not only about H. pylori. This video is also about how I am managing my gut health moving forward, and making sure that I don't get a reoccurrence of that infection or any other infection. So some of the things that I have done, and ways that I have made sure that I have maintained my stomach's health. There have been some hiccups along the way, which I will go into shortly. And I just want to basically help other people to save time, save money, and save so much stress, because this infection has been the most stressful experience apart from losing my dad. And I felt, even though it's only been like 8 weeks since I lost my dad, I just wanted to kind of do this video because I felt very pulled and very called to do it. And that's generally what I've done throughout having the infection. And I actually feel like now 18 months, I think it's exactly 18 months since I was diagnosed and having a positive test result of having that horrible infection. Because if you have had it, or if you've got it, or if you're not sure, you'll know exactly how horrible it actually is. There are so many people across the world who've got it and who've had it, and we all seem to have slightly different variations of intensity and treatment and healing process time because of various things, which I will go into. Going back many years, I started out with digestive problems, which I went through in my very first video. So if you want to go back and visit video 1, that talks about how I came up to having the H. pylori test in the first place. And then I went on to my second video, which spoke about my actual treatment, being tested positive and then the treatment. And then video 3 was immediately after treatment, how I felt and things like that and what I was doing to help myself. I then created video 4, which was a 12-month post-eradication therapy video. And now we're 18 months down the line. Time has gone very slowly in some aspects and very fast in others. So I have learned a lot. I have hired a number of naturopathic nutritionists to help me along the way, because I wasn't overly comfortable with having medication, and I ultimately ended up having antibiotics and PPI to help me eradicate the infection. It was quite a severe flare-up, let me tell you. And I am probably in the most best position I possibly ever have been in my whole life now, 18 months post eradication therapy. Some of the messages that I have been getting have been quite distressed messages, and I just wanted to kind of, before I start going into things, I just wanted to kind of offer some reassurance to anybody who thinks they might have H. pylori, they're currently going through treatment, they've just had their therapy treatment and they're still getting symptoms. It is the most incredibly stressful infection to ever have. In my opinion, your stomach is the hub and the lifeline of your whole body, and without your stomach, you are basically in a position where you literally can't function. And I just wanted to kind of reach out to anybody who is in a position at the moment where they feel mentally very stressed, distressed or worried and frightened about the infection. It's something that can be eradicated for everybody. It's really important that I let people know that this is my experience, and so I'm not giving medical advice, and so I don't want anybody to kind of think that I'm trying to give them advice about how to go forward with their infection. This is purely my experience. So I just wanted to put that little disclaimer in there, as I have with all my other videos. This is purely my experience and how I have experienced it, coped with it, dealt with it. But I am now pretty much fully healed. And I know a number of people now who have either had the infection or have got the infection, and every single person who had it quite a few months ago have pretty much now fully healed. So have some, you've got to have some patience with this infection. It is not a quick fix. I have mentioned that in previous videos. It's so frustrating because at the time you just kind of, I just want to get better. You know, if you have a cold or flu or whatever, you will be better within like a week or two. This is not the same kind of infection. This is a severe parasite infection, and we don't actually know where we've ever picked it up. Generally, we don't know how long we've had it for, and a lot of our symptoms and things like that, once the eradication treatment has taken hold and you're healed, you look back and think, well, I know I have, and I just think, wow, when the hell did I get that? When did I pick that up? And it's so hard. You never know. You can kind of go back in time and think, when did I start getting digestive complaints? But it's really, really difficult to know where you've picked it up. So the best thing to do is to try and focus on moving forward and the future, and you can get rid of this infection. I have, and I know other people who have as well. So without further ado, let's go into a little bit more detail. With my infection, nothing over the counter seemed to eliminate my ongoing stomach problems, and so I knew that there was something a little bit more in depth. And once I had had the test and I had been diagnosed with the H. pylori infection, all of these things that I'd been previously diagnosed with, whether it was SIBO or gastritis or hormonal imbalance, low iron, and all of these, like anxiety, panic attacks, all of these things that I had when I had the infection have now all gone. And I'm not saying that everybody who has those things diagnosed will basically have a H. pylori infection, get healed, and then they will all go. But for me, all of those symptoms, they were so mismatched and crossed over that it was so hard to know what it was. So once I had a diagnosis, I had never heard of it before, and I instantly went onto Google, like, what is this infection? And I saw the words stomach ulcer, and I was like, no, definitely not. I have not got a stomach ulcer, and just dismissed it. But I obviously then had my test, and it came back as a positive result, which really freaked me out. I had no idea. I'd never even heard of it before. And so having the eradication therapy and the last 18 months of healing time, I've managed to mentally come to terms with all of the issues I had before I was diagnosed, the flare-up that I had and the misery that it caused me. And then the last 18 months, it's been such a long journey, but I genuinely feel like it was all meant to happen for a reason. I don't know what that reason is yet, but I just hope that the videos that I'm creating are really helpful. Let me know in the comments where you're at. Have you had the infection? Are you on eradication therapy? Have you had a reoccurrence of the infection? Or are you in healing mode? Like, whereabouts are you? Let me know in the comments, because I think it's really important that we kind of let each other know that it's okay. We're all going to be okay, and there is light at the end of the tunnel. Something that I recognised as I look back over the last 18 months is that I became hyper focused on my stomach, particularly the area just underneath my rib cage. And I would lie in bed sometimes and just focus on that area. There's got to be something there. It must still be there. I think I've still got it. Have I still got the infection? And that is something that I've had a lot of people commenting and messaging me saying, did you have symptoms 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 3 months, 4 months, 6 months after you had the eradication therapy? And the answer is, I continued to have symptoms of H. pylori after I finished eradication therapy for well into 12 months after I had the treatment. And I know nobody wants to hear that, but what I will say is that those symptoms got less and less and less as time went on. I might have had a little bit more of a niggle if, say, I had pushed my luck with my food and had something too spicy or too hot, or eaten too much and just stretched my stomach. And something that didn't help me was when I had my eradication therapy, I went for a blood test at the doctor's afterwards just to see where all of my levels were at, which was really interesting, and I would recommend anybody do that. And my iron ferritin was really low. So I was put onto, I was told that I needed to continue taking iron tablets, but iron tablets were making my stomach healing process a lot slower. And I've had to be really patient with not being able to absorb iron from food properly, because my stomach had clearly got some damage going on. And I've had to trial and error all these different irons to try and get my stomach to just have a little bit of some, just to help me kind of like just try and teeter along a little bit before my stomach really started to feel like it was healing. I realised that I needed to try and switch off the stress in my brain, because I was so focused on my stomach that I wasn't able to switch off stress. Stress is going to suppress stomach acid, and so that's not ever going to be helpful in absorbing nutrients from food. And yes, stomach acid can be a little bit irritating to a very raw stomach that's just had all of this eradication therapy, but we need stomach acid. We need stomach acid to kill off parasites. We need our stomach acid to make sure H. pylori doesn't come back, but we also need it to absorb our nutrients from our food. So I really had to kind of create a bit of a basic routine over the last sort of 18 months to try and make sure that I was trying to heal whilst bringing up my iron level, whilst trying to get some decent sleep, whilst trying to be a mum and live a normal life and work. And it has been such a juggle, but over time it has been better to kind of have a sleep and wake time that were very similar each day, and just try and keep things really basic. So I would wake at around between 6 and 7. I had a distraction because I bought a puppy, so I've been focused on him, and he has been an absolute saviour to me to help me in my healing journey, and I've had something to focus on. And so I think having a hobby or something that takes the brain away from fixing your brain on that certain part of the stomach, it's been so much better for me to be able to relax and heal and get to where I am now a little bit quicker than probably what I would have done if I didn't have any distraction at all. So being creative and having hobbies and things to focus on have really helped me to switch off the stressed side of my brain and switch on the relaxation side of my brain, so that I'm able to focus and focus on what I'm doing in hand rather than what's going on inside my body. I couldn't believe how hyper focused I had become on every food I was eating. Is it digesting? Is it hurting me? Is it just sitting there? It just became this big deal every single day for such a long time, and that's not healthy. So I think I created a basic routine of what time I was going to wake up, my meal times, and what I was going to do in the day, whether it be work, hobbies, things to focus on, and keeping distracted just to make sure that I wasn't sort of lying there and just focused on my stomach. Getting into bed was probably the worst time of the day, because ultimately when you lie down you can really start to feel things in your stomach, and that was when I really found it difficult. I think during the process of having the flare up I lost a lot of sleep because I didn't realise I'd got the infection, and I became unable to sleep for a little bit after having the eradication therapy, because I just associated sleep with feeling really stressed and feeling really frightened, and I became a little bit scared to kind of close my eyes almost, because I didn't want to wake up in pain or wake up and feel that part of my stomach. So I established a nice and simple sleep routine and tried to keep things nice and basic. I also would try and keep my meals light and not push it. So I realised if I ate and chewed my food until it was like applesauce consistency, then I wasn't going to overeat, because I wasn't eating too fast, and it was just easier for my stomach then to digest whatever I was putting in. I tried to ensure that my meals were spaced for at least 4 hours in between, and so I would have my breakfast around the same time every day, I'd have my lunch around the same time every day, and I'd have my dinner around the same time every day. I tried not to snack in between because I just needed my stomach to just have a little bit of a break, and I wanted to make sure that all of the food I was eating was digesting properly and going down. I would also allow around 2 to 3 hours before I went to bed, I would have my last meal, so that I had a bit more of an emptier stomach by the time I got into bed. Once I was able to eat more spicier kinds of foods, I started to have like a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar in some warm water through a straw to save my teeth, about 30 minutes before I ate my meals, mainly my evening meal, but sometimes if I was having a bit of heartburn, I would just have that probably before my breakfast, my lunch and my dinner, just for a short time. And that basically would eliminate the heartburn that I was having and bringing my stomach acid levels up to enable me to absorb my food. What I've learnt in the last 18 months is that life still happens even after a stomach infection, and people can say that they have fully healed from something, and then something happens in your life that will re-trigger digestive issues. Our stomachs are attached to our nervous system, and as soon as that nervous system is triggered by a life event, even through daily life events or something even bigger, then our stomachs and our digestive systems will unfortunately bear the brunt of our emotions. And so I think it's been really important to slow down when something has happened in life and take some time to digest things emotionally, because sometimes when we are dealing with things, we forget to relax our stomach, and we also forget that when we are in fight or flight, or if something really stressful or traumatic will happen to us, or we're just really busy on the go and having daily life, we still need to slow down. We allow our stomach to relax and to be able to digest food at meal times, because I found it so easy to just try and when I was healing quicker, I was kind of like just going through life really quickly again. And I've had to slow that down and say to myself on many occasions, you've got to slow down and eat your meals, because otherwise your stomach acid isn't going to be high, your stomach isn't going to be working. Anybody can get H. pylori again. This is not something that once it's gone, it's never coming back. So we've got to get into the mindset that our stomachs and our digestive systems are heavily linked to our emotions and our state of our life. And so we have to look at our environment, we have to look at our thought processes, and how are we breathing? Sometimes we forget to breathe. We're so busy in life these days. And so I have had to learn to really re-establish where I am in life, who am I surrounded with, what are my thoughts, and do a lot of journaling on that, and try and work out, you know, yes, this infection came up because obviously I had either eaten something or had digested it somehow, but equally it can always reoccur, and I need to make sure that I'm looking after myself going forward, because it's not just H. pylori, it's anything. We've got to look after ourselves. Life is so busy and so fast-paced these days, and we can just get so caught up in life that we forget that actually we are humans and we've got a body that is just trying to process our foods and process our emotions and things. So I've had to learn to really kind of get to know how my body works, where I hold my emotion, and that is in my stomach. So when life happens, I have to make sure that I remember to slow down and relax. It's been really hard over the last 8 weeks. Losing a parent has been probably the most traumatic experience of my life, and so far, and I honestly thought H. pylori was the worst thing to ever happen. And I've noticed that my stomach has been like tight and at times, and so I've had to really learn to relax and allow my emotions to process, and trying to allow my food to digest. It's the hub of our life, it's the hub of our body, and so we have to look after it, focusing on finding natural flow within my body and doing things that I enjoy, finding time for relaxation, doing things that bring me joy and happiness, and just having fun basically. I saw a few naturopathic nutritionists during my digestive issues, and the first naturopathic nutritionist I saw her because I did a breath test for SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, and the test that I did came up positive. And looking back, I do think that maybe there was some SIBO because of the H. pylori. SIBO is usually because SIBO usually occurs because there's something else going on. There's always a root cause, and that's what I've learned from seeing naturopaths. And I had an eradication treatment for SIBO before I found out I had the H. pylori, and that was really beneficial. But then I had a really stressful period of time in my life where I then had this huge flare-up, and that's when I then saw another naturopathic nutritionist, and I had the H. pylori test and it came positive, and I had various supplements and a lifestyle protocol provided. The supplement side of things, when I first had my H. pylori eradication treatment, just made me feel 10 times worse. I think when you've already had the antibiotics and the PPIs or whatever treatment you've had, your stomach is raw. And I learned very, very quickly that I literally couldn't have any supplements. And something that a few people asked me after I had the eradication therapy is, what supplements did you take? And I tried a few, and I literally had to stop everything. And I probably waited until I was about 9 to 12 months post treatment that I then started to try adding in supplements. I've had to try and have iron supplements during the whole 18 months healing process, which has been really hard. And I think that's why my stomach was finding it very difficult to heal. I actually developed a lactose intolerance after I had the H. pylori eradication therapy. And I think that was because maybe there was just so much damage that I was trying to have products and food with lactose in, and I was just getting all of these like headache symptoms, and my stomach was bloating. And so what I've done is I have waited and had nothing for the last few months, and I've started to see a different naturopathic nutritionist who covers hormones, gut health, intolerance, and all these things. And she has been incredible. The other naturopathic nutritionists that I've seen have been amazing for what I needed them for at the time. But now my body is in a better position. Seeing this particular naturopathic nutritionist has been incredibly beneficial. There's one supplement that she has asked me to take, which another naturopath asked me to take, but I just couldn't take anything at the time last year. And that supplement has literally changed my stomach. Within 4 weeks of me taking it, my hunger pangs came back to a normal level. I feel like my stomach bloating has gone down. I'm starting to be able to digest lactose a bit better. And I know supplements aren't for everybody, and I'm not suggesting that anybody tries this particular one, but for me, Gastrazyme, which is a vitamin U and vitamin A supplement, has literally transformed my stomach. It's generally a supplement that is prescribed by naturopaths when you've had a stomach infection or a stomach ulcer. And I just feel like when I first started taking it, I think for the first 3 weeks, I was like, this isn't doing anything for me. And then after about 4 weeks, my hunger pangs started to come back, and my stomach stopped being so felt, a bit heavy after meals and things. And I was like, I thought I was healing a couple of months ago, but now I feel like I've really stepped up, and my stomach feels almost like completely back to normal. And I haven't had a normal feeling stomach for years. But like I say, I'm not suggesting that anybody takes Gastrazyme. It's not a supplement for everybody. It does contain vitamin A, which I know can be toxic to the liver if it's taken by people who've already got enough vitamin A. So it's definitely something to research. But for me, I've really found that beneficial. Vitamin U is, I think, the main ingredient in that supplement, and that is something that can be found in cabbage juice. So if you're unable to look at taking supplements, then I think for me, food has definitely been massively beneficial on this healing journey. In fact, food has been the main driver in helping me to heal. And I've definitely had to listen to my body, and at times I've had to kind of maybe wait a little bit longer to add something back in if it was too salty, too spicy, too sweet, or if it was just too heavy. And so yeah, food has definitely been really, really beneficial in helping me to understand where I'm at, and I've had to learn to really listen to my body. And I'd say my diet now will consist generally of whole foods, vegetables, rice, meats, and a lot of plants. And because of my low iron, I've had to incorporate red meat back into my diet, which I haven't really enjoyed very much, but I know there are benefits to that. And for me at the moment, that is what I need for my body. But saying that, everybody's different and everybody's got a different outlook on foods and things like that. So what I've learned is you've just got to follow what you want to do, what you feel is right, and you have to do what is beneficial for you and your body, because that is what I have done for myself. I know I touched upon this earlier, but I just wanted to kind of revisit that the nervous system has got so much connection to our digestive system, and if we're stressed or worried or frightened, then it will have an impact generally on your digestive system. And off the back of everything that I have experienced over the last, I'd say 15 years of having digestive issues, I have decided that I was going to create a completely separate page. I wanted to do it mainly because I've learned so much. I have explored and trained in so many different modalities to try and help myself that it would be really silly for me not to share what I've learned with other people. This page is, you know, for general daily life, but I know I needed to do something extra because I felt really called to kind of help people out here. We don't have a lot of access to things for free and things that will help us to move forward and recover and be happy, and so I created a page. I'll link it below. Feel free to come over and follow along there. I've called it Wellness with Shelley, and the reason why I've called it that is because collectively everything that I've been learning over the last sort of 10 to 15 years has been to benefit my own wellness. So I've learned loads and loads of different things to try and benefit my health and well-being. And there's going to be all sorts of things on that page, meditations and mindfulness and hints and tips and advice and foods and all sorts of different things to basically help other people, because I am so fed up of going online and not being able to freely access information and things like that would benefit me to recover and heal. Just that's all I needed, and I've got all of this information retained, and I need a creative outlet, and I think YouTube is the best place for that, for me to be able to give back and really help people, because I've learned that over the last 18 months it has been an extremely lonely, at times, in fact most of the time, an extremely lonely experience. Not a lot of people know how it feels to feel like that, and I have practiced and incorporated all of these different things into my daily life to now make me feel like such a happy person. And I just wanted to sort of give that back, and so yeah, I've created a page, Wellness with Shelley, and I'll be doing various things on there to help people, to benefit people, to bring people some happiness and joy and relaxation and calm and just cozy space, and just, yeah, so feel free to come over there and join me if you really want to. It'd be lovely to see you. So I'll wrap this video up now because there isn't really anything else that I feel like I want to add. I don't know if I'll do another video on gut health and things like that. I'm pretty sure I will. I have a list of notes on my phone of things that I really want to share, but I can't put everything into one video, and I don't want to kind of just keep on like revisiting and regurgitating the same things. I need to make sure that I'm providing something that is beneficial and informative, because that's what I needed and that's what I wanted. So yeah, if anybody has any questions on anything to do with gut healing, gut health, H. pylori, eradication treatment, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a therapist, but I have a lot of experience in knowing exactly how it feels internally. It's so hard to explain to people. And so yeah, if anybody's got any questions, please, if you don't feel comfortable, put in the comments on, just send me an email or come and visit me over on Instagram, send me a DM. And I always respond to people. I'm really grateful that you've watched to the end if you've got this far. And yeah, I'm really hopeful that if you have found anything useful from this video, that you know, you get well soon, you feel better, there is light at the end of the tunnel. I'm an example of that, and that's exactly why I've done these videos, to say, hey, I've had this, it's been horrific, but look at me now, I'm back to normal now, and if I can do it, then anybody else can. So yeah, reach out if you need to. We are all in this together, and we've just got to, you know, whatever we've experienced, I think it's really important to share so that we all know that we're not alone. And yeah, if you've got anything that you want to share, please pop it in the comments below, and I really look forward to seeing you in the next video, which I'm not sure which video I'm going to do next. There are plenty coming up. I've got literally a list on my phone of notes of videos that I want to create. So yeah, watch this space, and I will be really excited to see you back on another video soon. Thank you.